Hi guys, welcome to Bib Talks, a podcast about life and all its experiences. What are the odds that a stranger tells you about your own podcast, not knowing that you are the voice behind? Guys, story time for today. But first, allow me to welcome you into the new month. Happy May. I hope it is treating you well so far. Personally, I'm having a blast and I hope it's going to be even better as the month goes on. So, how are you? How have you been? I know it's been okay, and I hope that you have been fine. This episode was supposed to be recorded right after the Easter break, and I hope you guys had a nice Easter season. I know I've delayed a bit, but guys, procrastination. But I had to get myself out of that box as quickly as possible. Anyway, hope Easter was a blast, and I hope it was a reminder of Jesus' love for us, that he shed his blood so that we would be set free. I hope that it was also a reminder to trust him in all situations, because there is nothing that he cannot do. So today is an exact testimony of that in my life. Story time. You guys know I love stories. This is going to be a good juicy one. So let me get straight into it. I'm excited. So guys, during the Easter season, my family traveled to a watch in Gulu for a sickle cell outreach organized and hosted by my sister Amito Bibian, the founder of Cell Care Foundations Limited. Guys, it's a company, so yeah, limited. By the way, I'm very proud of that girl. She is doing big things. So during the outreach, there were other people whom we traveled with from different places. This was the second time for the outreach, and we had a lot of new people coming in, friends of friends, family, and it was just a blast. So time came to sleep at night, and we were split into different rooms, boys in other areas, aunties had their own room, and then us young girls were sharing the sitting room. That's where we were sleeping. So we lay our sleeping bags. Some people were even sleeping on the sofa. So basically we were all trying to get a place to rest our heads and just having conversations with one another and vibing. So slowly but surely, people started falling asleep, but me and this one girl seemed to be hitting it off. You guys know I love talking, I love jazz. And well, this girl was talking to me, and we were just having jazz about any topic that came about. Now the thing drifts. Pay attention. This is where the story gets juicy. Now doesn't this girl start telling me about a podcast? I became interested because, I make podcasts, and I was just waiting for my chance to tell her how I have a podcast that she should try out, since she seemed to like them. Then she starts telling me about this podcast and about an episode that she related to about life after campus, how she found it really funny. Now at the back of my mind, I'm like, I have a podcast related to that, but I kept quiet because I knew it couldn't be mine anyway. So I'm here listening and still waiting to pitch mine to her. I couldn't wait to just tell her about Bib Talks. Anyway, then she starts looking for the name of the podcast in her mind. So she wanted to recommend it to me. But then, she realized that she has forgotten it. Then she goes on to tell me how this particular podcast was recommended to her by a friend of hers abroad. And since it's a long distance friendship, they listen to this podcast, they talk about it, they break it down, They talk about the content and have conversations about the different episodes to see what has been left, to see what they can add. Anyway, it just helps them keep in constant communication. So she's still jazzing me all that, and she's like, I remembered the name of the podcast. It's called Bib Talks. Hey! Guys, what? Bib Talks! I shouted, that's my podcast. And then she just said, Olimba. I started shouting in ecstasy, that's my podcast, that's my podcast. And then she looked at me in disbelief. Remember, I'm also looking at her in disbelief, like, eh, eh? And then she said, what are the odds I get to meet the person whose podcast I listen to? You are celebrity. Guys, I laughed. But I was in disbelief. She's in disbelief. Just imagine two people in disbelief. Like, it was a crazy situation. I mean, of all podcasts, it was mine. My heart was full. I told my sisters. My mom came to pass by to give us Odomos. You guys know Odomos, eh? The mosquito repellent. I had to tell her the whole story. The next day, I told everyone who would care to listen, even when they didn't show much interest. Now my are busy with the outreach, but me, I'm busy telling them, guys, you don't know what happened last night. And now here I am telling you on my podcast. I had to tell you. I'm so excited. Like every time, it's been like 2 weeks, but I'm still excited about it. And I want to keep it on record here. Just in case I ever forget, I'll return and listen to this episode. By the way, I asked her to show me the podcast platform she listens from. And guess what? I didn't even know that platform, man. When she showed it to me, I didn't even know it. And I didn't even know that the podcast is distributed to very many other platforms apart from the ones that I originally knew and like planned to post my content on. And guys, by the way, I started this podcast as an instruction from God. One day I'll tell you the full story about it. Actually, it should be the next episode after this. I'll see. Anyway, I started this podcast with very many fears and questions. What will I talk about? I won't get enough views, especially when I'm not showing my face. Who will listen to it? And God answered me immediately during that period. And he said that this was his podcast and not mine. And when I asked who will listen to it, he said it will find whoever needed to listen to it at the right time they needed it. Of all things, who knew that people needed it to keep their long distance friendship burning? I mean, like, of all things, I had never imagined that that's what my podcast was going to be for. Sometimes I've doubted if I should be doing this podcast, but this experience was reassurance that I was on the right track. It was a moment of God saying, well done, good and faithful servant. I feel so fulfilled, guys, and I know I'm here for a purpose and I am in the right place. And I want to urge us to continue listening to God's voice, pray for direction, and if you know you are in the right place, please keep doing what you are supposed to do. I know sometimes it feels like no one is watching all your efforts and everything is in vain. But if someone abroad is the one who recommended this podcast, and I thought it was only even in Uganda, I thought the listeners were only in Uganda. My face isn't even seen, and it would be hard to even know who I am unless you knew me from before. But somehow the message was spread. Just know someone is definitely appreciating you for whatever you're doing. Keep going, even when you don't see results immediately. Galatians chapter 6 verse 9 says, let us not become weary in doing good, for at a proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Guys, I hope this story will be an encouragement to you even when you don't see fruit of your works. Keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and until then, see you on the next episode of Bib Talks. Bye.